Hello, it's me. Let's learn about the fake gods that people worship in the Bible. In today's video, we'll learn about 7 fake gods that people worship in the Bible. So let's begin with number 1, Baal. In 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 17 to 39, Ahab says to Elijah, "It is not I who have made Israel sin, but the people of Israel have transgressed my covenant and have gone after Baal. Now therefore I am delivering Israel over to the hands of Jezebel, and I will make her an offering up high places and altars." So from this passage we understand that Baal was a god of the Israelites. This was during the time of the Old Testament. They used to worship him on top of mountains. They built high places and altars where they would offer their sacrifices to Baal and ask him to send them rain. But he never answered them. That's why they kept on crying out to him. And sometimes when they did receive rain, they attributed that to Baal. But we know very well that all the rain comes from God. Our God is a God who sends rain on the just and on the unjust. So when we read further in 2 Kings chapter 21 verse 6, it says, "Manasseh walked in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat and king of Israel, and he made Israel to sin by returning to the worship of Chemosh and to the gods of Damascus, and he followed a host of all the heavenly luminaries and bowed himself to all the trees of the field and all the green herbs." So here Manasseh is now following Baal Chemosh and the gods of Damascus. So let's look at what Chemosh was. Chemosh was also a god of the Ammonite people. It was their god, just like Baal was the god of the Israelites. So in 2 Kings 3 verses 24 to 26 it says, "And the Moabites came and attacked them and struck down of the sons of Israel as many as fell down dead by the sword, and they captured Oholibah, his sons and his wives, and brought him up to Chemosh. And when the king saw them, he said to Chemosh, 'A blessing, I pray, upon my enemies, and cursed be those who say good of Israel.' So they fought against the children of Israel and took many captives, and they brought them to Chemosh. Then he took his sons and his wives and gave them to Labbakan, king of Moab, to have dominion over them." So here we see that the kings of Israel are praying to God to save them from Chemosh and the Ammonite people, and they even curse Chemosh. So this was a very wicked god. He received human sacrifices. They had to sacrifice their children to him, to Moloch, the Ammonite god. Now let's look at Bel and Nebo. They were gods of the Babylonians. So in Daniel chapter 2 verse 4 it says, "I have made you an image, Bel, an image of gold, whose height is 60 cubits and his weight is 60 talents of gold. Make it quickly and set it up." And then Nebuchadnezzar set up the image of gold in the plain of Dura. So here we see that Nebuchadnezzar was setting up a huge golden statue of Bel and made it 60 cubits high and 60 talents of gold. So this was a massive statue of the Babylonian god. And later, in Daniel chapter 4 verse 7 it says, "Is not this great Babylon, which I have built as a royal residence by the power of my might and for the honor of my majesty?" So Nebuchadnezzar asks this rhetorical question to Bel, the god of Babylon. He is asking his god, "Isn't Babylon great? I built it with my mighty power and for the sake of my honor and my majesty." The next fake god we see in the Bible is Ashtoreth. In Judges chapter 3 verse 3 it says, "Then the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and they took their daughters to be their wives and gave their daughters to their sons. And they served Baal and Ashtoreth, and they followed and worshipped the gods of the Canaanites." So here the Israelites intermingled with these people and started worshipping their gods, including Baal and Ashtoreth was the goddess of the Phoenicians. And it means she was a fertility goddess, or rather she was supposed to bring fertility to the land, but people still worshipped her in vain. Next, we see the worship of the god Dagon. In Judges chapter 13 verse 5 it says, "And the children of Israel dwelt in Judah and in Benjamin, and they did not drive out the inhabitants of the coast, nor the Ammonite, nor the Philistine, nor the Arabite, nor the Canaanite, nor did they make any of them as under tribute, but they lived among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, and Perizzites, and the land was not yet divided among the tribes of Israel." So here, again, we see that the Israelites were living among other people. They were living among the Canaanites and the Philistines, and they were worshiping their gods. One of the gods of the Philistines was Dagon. And Dagon was a god with a fish tail and the upper part of a man. He was a very disgusting god. We see in 1 Samuel 5 verses 2 to 5 it says, "So the Philistines took the ark of God and placed it in the temple of Dagon, their god, in Ashkelon. Then those who came home from war found it so and told the people. And they said, Beware the God of Israel. He has struck down those who come to Ashkelon, both of the city, the men of war, and the women. So his greatness is established in our sight. Then the Philistines were afraid, for they had never before been given such plagues. And they said, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? So they sent and gathered together the lords of the Philistines and the people to go to Ashkelon. And they carried the ark of God to Ekron. So here we see that the Philistines were afraid because many of them died and some became blind and lame. They thought that this was the work of the God of Israel. So they were afraid of the God of Israel, but they were worshipping Dagon, the Philistine god. Then we see the worship of Astarti. In Isaiah chapter 30, verse 33, it says, For thus the Lord said, If I have not established day and night in the fixed order of heaven, then your offspring and the offspring of your body shall be many in number, the offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for I will restore their fortunes and will have mercy on them. So, here God is saying, I have established day and night, and nothing can change that. And if I have not established my word, which is in my mouth, then your offspring will increase and become very numerous. The offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, meaning the Israelites, they were worshipping Ashtoreth. They were depending on her for the fertility of their land, for the increase of their crops, for having children, and also for the health and protection of their land. So these were the fake gods that people worshipped in the Bible. And God wants us to know that He alone is God. There is no other God besides Him. So I pray that this video has been a blessing to you. If it did bless you, please leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.